Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie Bourbon Lovers, sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, good pop. How about that one? It was really kind of, what's the...
Echoey?
It was almost melodic, I think. What are we pouring?
Musical. We are pouring one of my favourite discoveries from last year's Kentucky Bourbon Festival, a Lucky 7.
And if you're listening to this as we release it, that means you're listening to it while we're on a plane.
Oh, going to the next Kentucky Bourbon Festival.
It's that.
I'm excited.
But you're probably not listening to it when it's released. Cheers. This is a Lucky 7 holiday toast. So, Lucky 7... Hang on, here we go.
It's like so...
Toasted barrel finished bourbon by the guys at Lucky 7.
Yep.
They're a non-producing distiller, and NPD. I haven't said it enough times to be able to do it. It means that they source their bourbon.
Which means?
Don't worry about it. It tastes delicious. I'll tell you in a sec. On the nose, like this is like if you think about Woodford Double Oaked or you think about Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel, they're doing this kind of stuff where they take a bourbon that's already really good and then they put it in another barrel, new barrel.
It's like maple syrup poured all over fruit.
Right. This is...
delicious.
Christmas pudding. To me...
Christmas pudding, yeah. I'm getting like...
And it's part of the joke, I think, of calling it a holiday toast is it tastes a bit like Christmas.
It definitely smells like Christmas pudding, Christmas cake.
There was one year where at Christmas time, for whatever reason, the local supermarket must have been given all of the home brand Christmas puddings that couldn't be sold all around the rest of the country or something was given to our supermarket. And they marked them down to $1 or something. And so Mum bought a whole lot of them and put them in the cupboard. And they were sealed in like a plastic container.
Last for ages.
They last for ages. And so for a long time, that's all we had for dessert was Christmas pudding, home brand Christmas pudding. And it was unbelievably good, particularly with like a good double thick cream or something. Yeah. Really good. Super rich, raisiny, soaked in whatever. I don't think there's any alcohol left in it, but like whatever. Anyway, this is what I'm getting here. Spices.
I know that massive, it's just like it hits you in the face, that delicious.
Rich dried fruit characters.
It's taking the tin of Jenny Hoff's Christmas cake.
Oh my goodness. Jenny Hoff is a boutique reference, but yes.
One of my friend's mums makes the best Christmas cakes.
Anyway, it smells a lot
That's
like good Christmas time. And how does it taste?
It tastes so good.
Basically the same. It's so good.
It's one of those ones that the smell and the taste, it's all the same, just Christmassy goodness.
115 proof, so 57.5%. So quite potent in terms of like, if you're used to drinking 40%, this has got an extra, it's almost 1.5 times that. Yeah.
It was an extremely difficult decision to have four, is it? For
lots of
Lucky 7 expressions.
Yeah.
And we were on limited baggage, and we had to really decide and select very carefully which one we wanted to bring home, so that we had to taste it quite a lot.
They signed the bottle and everything. There's Michael and JP from Lucky 7.
They were amazing.
We've previously spoken about how cool it is at Kentucky Bourbon Festival that with the smaller distilleries, or in this case non-producing distilleries, they are there, right there at Kentucky Bourbon Festival.
Yeah, to answer all your questions and talk about their story. And
these guys were so fun.
Oh, we had the best afternoon with them. We went back to their stall a few times.
We went back a few times. But then we just so happened to be lucky enough to be
Lucky 7
standing there when they kind of called last drinks on the last day. And so we kind of had knockoff drinks with them because once you pour your last pour, then you're done. Then they say you got to stop, and there's people from the festival going around saying stop, which is good. Of course, everyone needs to go home. But we had a beer actually because next door was Town.
Yeah, it was one of their mates
and
doing
and had the beers.
Beer. It was great.
So we had beers with them at the end. It was so cool, and we had a really good chat. And they're amazing guys.
My mission is to get Lucky 7 in Australia because unfortunately it is not at this point something you can get in Australia, but it's so good.
All right. Can I quickly... Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, I was just going to say that's my mission.
Okay, all right. We'll chat to them about it.
This time.
Yeah, okay. But now can we non-producing distillers are distilleries or like whiskey labels and brands that don't make it themselves. Penelope's one of these.
Yep.
They don't have a distillery. They're not putting
they source it and mix
beer
it
through a still and producing something. They're taking something that someone else has made
Yep.
and they're either selecting it and labelling it, or they're then doing something like this where they're...
Yeah, well, they told us about some old barn on some guy's farm where they found all these whiskey barrels.
Great.
And they bought them and they used them. I'm like, it's incredible.
So many of these different ones, and I think there's two kinds of categories of ways of thinking about it. First one is, they're not a distillery, I shouldn't consider them. And then the other one is to go, let's see what they're doing, and if it's good and I like to drink it, let's drink it. And this is the great thing about bourbon, is that the majority of people in the bourbon industry are like, well, we don't mind who distilled it. If you're doing something cool and interesting and delicious, let's get into it.
And it's about the flavours. Like they're mixing to get that particular flavour. So I think it's an amazing, science experiment kind of. It's like they're bringing all these bourbons from everywhere together to get the flavours they want.
I'm going to forget her name. Their master blender is the same as EJ Curley's.
Yes.
Ashley Barnes? I'm going to get
I think it was Ashley.
That wrong.
Anyway, her and I had a great chat.
Yeah, and she's awesome. Such an incredible woman and a great kind of figure in the bourbon industry, doing cool things for two different bourbon labels.
Well, she's doing Lucky 7 and Curly.
Yeah. And
both great bourbons.
Incredible stuff. Both great bourbons, incredible flavours, and the good stuff that's coming out is obviously because of that.
But when the good people get from one distillery, get behind someone from making bourbon like this, it's good.
Yeah, I don't know who came first. Was Lucky 7 before?
I think
Curly?
Lucky 7. I think Curly came first, and Lucky 7. I don't know.
We don't know what we're talking about. But that's okay. That's normal. Fact check everything we say anyway. I'm
going to look that up after this. Curly or Lucky 7, which one came first? My guess is Curly.
Can I get through a few more of my fun facts about Lucky 7?
Go for it, Dave.
Do you want to know why it's called Lucky 7?
Something to do with the film.
Lucky 7 is the studio in one of the backlots. Lucky 7 was the studio where all the big movies were made.
Yeah. And
it's the nickname of the studio. And when they first got going, every kind of expression had its own short film made. Yeah, about it. And so I think you can still see the short films.
Yeah, each bottle had a short film, but even the label on it's like a movie ticket. It's like...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Really cool.
And then at Kentucky Bourbon Festival, you can sit on the director's chair and do a thing with a megaphone. And I definitely did.
Yes. Have photographic evidence.
It's also a really cool shaped bottle and a really cool shaped stopper. And it's really thoughtfully done. The guys are so thoughtful in the way that they've put it all together. But none of that would matter if it was no good. And it's so good.
It's really good. But I love the way, there's obviously these distilleries that have this, rich history behind them. But then these guys don't have that same story of, generations and generations. But the creativity they put into creating their own story is amazing.
Do you know what? I'm getting a little bit of banana bread. Imagine if banana bread was kind of and are you getting any of that? If you were kind of doing banana bread,
buttery, really toasted.
Yeah.
Station Stop Cafe and Parkdale banana bread.
Oh my goodness, you are doing some super niche references today.
I'm just sharing where it takes me, where the smell takes me.
I love it. They've got so many different releases. The Holiday Toast is obviously a finished bourbon because they put it in the secondary cask where it's a toasted barrel.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. But if you get a chance to try any of their bourbons, they're all kind of quite delicious. And they're all definitely worth a go. This was, you got to pick which one you got to take home, right? And
it was a very tough decision.
Yeah. You're trying 60 distilleries with 200 different brands and expressions. You've got to pick what bottles you're going to bring home.
Yeah, but just between the four of their ones, they were all really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing that I really like about Lucky 7 is just how cool the guys were and how generous they were with their knowledge and their time.
Yep.
Sometimes you get to a booth that's really busy, and these guys were busy the whole time we saw them.
Yep.
They're just trying to get the pours done and move on and get it out of the way, but these guys were so generous with their time. So we're really grateful for JP and Michael looking after us.
Yeah.
But then as well for the opportunity to bring a bottle home and be able to keep tasting and sipping and enjoying it.
Yep, it's on my wish list for this year's festival.
All right.
A Lucky 7 bottle.
Well,
the dilemma is whether I get the same one or a different one.
oh, we've got to get a different one, I think. Anyway, here it is. Cheers.
Lucky 7.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.